So let's be real. Large language models are absolutely everywhere. The hype is off the charts. But the big question for anyone in business is, how do we move beyond just the cool demos and turn this raw, incredible power into an actual working business strategy? It's not about just having the tech. It's about making smart choices to make it really work for your company. Let's dive into how to do exactly that.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Every single day, your organization is creating a mountain of data. You've got project plans buried in SharePoint, you've got critical decisions being made in Teams chats, customer feedback sitting in emails. This is literally your company's collective brain. But for most of us, it's all locked away in silos. We're data-rich, but completely insight-poor. So how on earth do we unlock all that value?
Well, the key is to first really understand the tool we're working with. We've got to get a solid handle on what a large language model is, what it can do brilliantly, and maybe even more importantly, what its limits are right out of the box.
Okay, so at its heart, what is an LLM? You can think of it as a superpowered prediction engine. It's built on this game-changing architecture called the transformer, which is what lets it understand context in a way that older models just couldn't. It's been fed a mind-boggling amount of public text, basically the entire internet, and that's how it learns to spot patterns and generate language that sounds incredibly human.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because even at the most basic level, there are different strategic approaches to building these things. You've got autoregressive models like GPT, which are fantastic at creating content because they're always predicting what comes next. On the other hand, you have mask models like BERT that are amazing at understanding context because their whole job is filling in the blanks. And look, this isn't just some techie detail. It's a fundamental design trade-off that directly impacts how the model thinks and responds.
And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem for any company. A standard, off-the-shelf LLM, it can write a beautiful sonnet, it can explain quantum physics, but it has zero idea what Project Phoenix is at your company. It doesn't know who's on your team or what was decided in last week's sales call. It's this brilliant, powerful engine that's completely disconnected from your private, proprietary world of business data.
So how do we bridge that massive gap? The answer isn't to try and retrain the whole model from scratch on your own data. That's incredibly expensive and complex. Instead, the smart move is to build an intelligent system around it. Let's walk through a blueprint for this, and we'll use Microsoft Copilot as a really clear case study.
This image just lays it out so perfectly. You've got three essential pieces here, but on their own, they're not that useful. You have the powerful LLM, you have all your organization's data, and you have the apps that your people live in every single day. The real magic, the strategic advantage, comes from how you intelligently weave these three things together.
I love this quote because it's the perfect metaphor. The first piece of this puzzle is something called the Microsoft Graph. And it's so much more than just a database of your files. You should really think of it as a map of how everything and everyone in your company is interconnected.
So what does that nervous system actually look like in practice? Well, the graph knows that you work closely with Jane from marketing. It knows you both edited that PowerPoint presentation last week and that you have a meeting scheduled with her tomorrow to discuss it. It understands the relationships between all these scattered pieces of information.
But there's another absolutely critical layer here. The semantic index. So if the graph knows who and what are connected, the semantic index understands the ideas and concepts inside your data. It goes way beyond just searching for keywords. It actually gets the meaning behind the words you use. Okay, let's put this all together and follow the journey of a single prompt. Say you ask something like, summarize the key outcomes from our Project Phoenix meetings. The system doesn't just blindly send that question to the LLM. No way. First, it uses the graph and the semantic index to pull together all the relevant meeting notes, documents, and people related to Project Phoenix. It then enriches your simple question with all of that juicy business context before sending that much smarter, enhanced prompt to the LLM. The model gives its answer, and then, this is key, it's post-processed to make sure it follows all your company's security and compliance rules before you ever see it.
What that whole process really shows us is that implementing enterprise AI is not a simple tech install. It's a series of deliberate, strategic choices. You have to actively decide on the trade-offs, like whether you want to prioritize a simple search over deep insights, and how you're going to build a secure perimeter around this powerful new tool.
And here is a perfect, crystal-clear example of one of those strategic trade-offs. A basic keyword search is fast, it's easy, but it only finds exact word matches. It's a digital filing cabinet. A semantic search, on the other hand, is more complex, sure, but it understands your intent.
The business choice is pretty stark. Are you optimizing for simple document retrieval or for generating deep, actionable business insights? One is just a tool, but the other is a true strategic capability.
Now let's talk security, because this is a really big one. This statement is a potential deal maker or deal breaker for a lot of companies. By building on an integrated platform, your proprietary data, your secret sauce, stays inside your existing secure environment. That is a massive strategic choice because it means you're not sending your company's most valuable information out to some third-party service.
And this one?
This addresses probably the single biggest fear that businesses have about using this technology. The strategic decision to use a closed-loop system like this means your company's intelligence isn't being fed back to train the general model for everybody else to use. Your competitive advantage stays yours. For most companies, that's completely non-negotiable.
Building on that, security isn't some magic switch you just flip on. It's built on a foundation of conscious decisions you make. Implementing things like multi-factor authentication, making sure only healthy compliant devices can access your data, and classifying your information with sensitivity labels, these aren't just tedious IT tasks. They are foundational business decisions that create the secure perimeter an enterprise AI absolutely needs to operate safely.
So, with that whole framework in mind, the question really pivots back to you. How do you start building your own AI blueprint? How do you take your organization from just kicking around an idea to a full, successful deployment?
Well, look, the recommended strategy is a phased approach. Nobody is suggesting you do a risky, big bang rollout overnight. The smart play, the strategic way to do this, is to start small. Let an evaluation team test the waters and kick the tires. Then, you expand to a pilot phase to get real-world feedback from actual users. This lets you learn, adapt, and build momentum for a successful full deployment. It's a deliberate plan that minimizes risk and seriously maximizes your chances of success.
And that really brings us to the final and most critical question you should be asking yourselves. Are you just buying a cool AI product, or are you building your strategy on an integrated AI platform? You see, a product might solve one specific problem today, but a platform is what provides the security, the deep data integration, and the scalability you need to fundamentally transform how your entire organization works. The choice you make here will define the future of intelligence in your business.